What do you think the 49ers have set up for round 2, ideally?
Again, corner, safety.
Just whatever they didn't take.
Positions.
Fair enough. Okay.
If they take quarterback, it's got to be corner, safety. I think the thing with the corner position, correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't really gotten into them, but just based on tweets and what people are saying, like the really smart people, like the Eric Crockers of the world, they seem to say that while there isn't a high-end talent, it's deep. There's depth at the position. Which means that if there's depth, I guess you would much rather have a guy at round 2 than you would take the guy at 12. Because I don't think there's a Patrick Peterson in this draft or a Jalen Ramsey or a guy you're taking in the top 5, top 10, a Marshawn Lattimore, Denzel Ward, Jeff Okudah, right? CJ Henderson. I think there's just a lot of good players later. So I think taking one in the second round would be fantastic. And then with the safeties, I really like 2 of them. I like Richie Grant from UCF, and I like Trayvon Moehrig from TCU. But I think they're the best 2 coverage guys in this draft. And I value coverage more in safeties than I do tackling, especially in today's NFL. And I think they're both really versatile and really good in coverage. And for those reasons, I think Richie Grant might be available at 43 or maybe even the 3rd round. So I think those are 2 great options for them.
Okay. I think you're right. I think those are great options, players the Niners should consider. I'm going to go the other direction and think, just try to project what they are going to do. And they could. I'm going to stick with the theme of they're in win now mode. They're looking for instant contributors, not quarterbacks. That's what I think. So if they're looking for an instant contributor, they could use a nickel unless they bring back K'Wan Williams, which they could, or they envision using Dante Johnson at nickel or whatever. It seems like they need a nickel if they don't re-sign K'Wan. But the fact that Tartt's coming back, I'm not ruling out re-signing any of these guys. It seems like a lot of these. I don't know.
With the nickel, I had a tweet a few days ago. If you compare Jamar Taylor and K'Wan Williams' production, it's actually very close. And I based on training camp reports, thought, man, when K'Wan Williams went down, man, Jamar Taylor's going to be a problem. Jamar Taylor played great for the 49ers when he played. He played great.
He tore his ACL, so you don't really know if he'd be ready.
Apparently, he's going to be ready for training camp. That's what Leo says. So, and Leo knows. So that's one.
They're childhood friends. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's one, right? That's one option. 2, like if you're looking at Jamar Taylor, a guy who didn't have a team for a while last year, and you're saying he could come and replace the kind of approximate the production that was going on. I think taking a nickel, a tough outside corner who's not like made to play outside in the NFL because he's too small, lacks athleticism, but he's a tough, hard-nosed, gritty player who's kind of sticky and man. Like you can get those kinds of players in the 4th or 5th round in every single draft. DJ Reed was exactly that. So I still think that's an option too.
Okay, so let me make my prediction. So I agree with you. If they like Taylor, if they like Johnson enough to have him back, and then they could draft a nickel on day 3 and say you don't have to contribute right away. If you do, great. So I still think they're looking for a contributor, someone who can play as a rookie. And I feel like the Niners, it's been 3 years in a row that they've spent their 2nd pick on a wide receiver. I just feel like they can't help themselves.
Can't do it. They can't do it this year.
I think they're going to take a wide receiver.
And there's a lot of good ones, man. Receiver position is my favorite position in the draft, especially the last 2 or 3 years.
Same with Kyle.
Dude, I mean, it's actually like just turning on and watching. Like there's like 15 good ones, I feel like, every year. And it's like, damn, I'd love to get this guy in the 2nd round. I'd love to get this guy in the 3rd round. It's just they've invested so much. And right now they're 2 for 4 on first 3 round picks. They've missed on Pettis, and Hurd at this point can't be classified as anything but a miss just because of his health. And they hit on Debo and they hit on IU. You can't be batting 50%.
Has some injury issues too, but he's great.
Right. So for them, I just like Richie James.
Me too.
I think that's a good option. Look, I said this. I still think that both Adam Humphries and Danny Amendola can come in here and do a bang-on job for the 49ers. They're going to live in 22 personnel anyway. They just need a guy who can play, give them positive production at the league minimum as a veteran, as a good, solid player, be tough, good hands. They're better than Trent Taylor was. And the Niners envisioned a role for Trent Taylor on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3. This offense, when it's running its smoothest, is avoiding 3rd down anyway. So I would like Adam Humphries, maybe Amendola. I'd preferably Humphries, but Humphries is also a punt returner. I think that's an option, league minimum.
I like how adamant you are that the Niners are not going to draft a wide receiver in round 2 because that would be a big mistake. But you know how I am. I just assume I anticipate these things. And I just think Kyle Shanahan can't help himself. So Kyle, prove me wrong, baby. Prove me wrong, because I'm fully expecting the pick to be Rondale Moore, Kadarius Toney, someone that Niner fans are going to be like, oh my God, in Kyle's offense, he's going to be so good. And he probably will be. But
if it's I won't even be mad if it's Toney.
I
love Toney. He's my favorite player in the draft. I like Rondale Moore a lot. I like Elijah Moore. These guys are fantastic. If Kyle can't help himself, I wouldn't be angry, but I don't think it's prudent.
And how they'll justify it if and when they do it is, well, you know, we lost Kendrick Bourne. Debo Samuel's had some injury issues. We need some. And who knows if they really plan on giving Debo Samuel a second contract. Maybe that's to be determined. So they could theoretically sell it that way. Hugh Olson says 49ers are the most injured team the past 2 decades. How do we offset the injuries? Are we signing too many injured players, or is it a staff problem?
Who the heck knows? I mean, the injury. I mean, signing too many injured players. Yeah, that one you can say, right? Like Dee Ford's been managing injuries since his senior year at Auburn. Like Nick Bosa has had an injury history. Debo Samuel had an injury history. Now, do you know if those injuries are going to happen? Because there are players that are injured throughout college, coming in the NFL, bang, just injury free for the rest of their career. It's weird. I don't know what it is, because the last 2 decades goes well beyond what just John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, you know? So I don't know what it is. I think it's a combination of bad luck. Unfortunately, we're not privy to every single piece of information. And I certainly don't have injury prevention knowledge on how you need to protect yourself. I'm sure they're doing everything they can, and they're just doing something, I guess, wrong, or maybe it's just not working out for them.
The answer to questions like this in football is always like 18 variables. But what I will say is this is the most important question facing the 49ers. This is it. And they may never find a definitive answer, but at least Jed needs to be taking this extremely seriously and doing everything he can to find a solution, because 2 decades is not a fluke. There must be things the Niners can do to make this to at least come more to like the league average. Right. There's got to be things they can do.
And the thing is, 2019, like, yeah, things were pretty much going perfect, but 2019 wasn't without injuries, right? You lost to Tart, you lost to Ford, you lost to Joe Staley, you lost to Kyle
2019 had a ton of injuries.
Yeah.
A ton of injuries.
So happened every injury was 2 to 4 weeks, guy comes back. 2 to 4 weeks, guy comes back.
True. That's true. It wasn't the high ankle parade that it was last year. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, last year was high ankle or ACL.
Yeah, that's it. And it was just like people getting rolled up on over and over again. Maybe that's just and people not being prepared.
The worst part is, like, all these guys, whether it's Raheem Mostert or any of these guys, they're just rushing back from the high ankle. And, like, naturally, like, you saw the way Raheem Mostert was playing. Like, he was playing so hard for a guy that is playing on a high ankle. Like, of course he's unfortunately going to have to go through it again. So
and like sprinting on that thing, it looks so freaking painful. And you could see him and Jeff Wilson coming back to the sideline being like, oh, I can't do one more. And then they come back out. I was really impressed by how those two gutted it out. Tough as hell. Really, dude, Tom Brady was 6th round. Russell Wilson was 3rd round. Hall of Fame Roger Staubach drafted in the 10th. And Kurt Warner UDFA. In your face, Fish.
Oh, 4 examples. He got me. 4 examples.
Should the Niners go all in the draft this year and then go free agent next year when we lose these 1-year deals? Should trade back into the first so we have 2? I don't know, man.
Confused? I'm
confused. Go all in the draft this year and then go free agent next year when we I don't really get it.
I'm confused.
I think what he's saying is just go big in
these 1-year deals aren't that expensive, though. That's the thing. They aren't. It's not like by losing these 1-year deals, Niners are opening up like $80 million in cap space to go all in and sign a bunch of premium players.
Well, I guess what you could say is, like, if I'm correct that they're looking for 2 instant contributors, the way they did last year with Kinlaw and IU, 2 starters, maybe they do trade in from 43 up to the end of round 1 and get another guy, because maybe they do.
The other thing is, I do think there is a situation where the corner can be an instant contributor. And I forgot to mention this during the nickel conversation. I still think Emmanuel Mosley can play the nickel position on this defense.
Certainly.
I really do. I don't know why they didn't do it last year, and they did it the 2 years before. But I think that he's a good, solid player. He's tough. He's everything that they require for that position.